Hey everybody, this is Keith from the lightest side of true crime, and I am chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Keith. What's up, man?
Yeah, he has 8 victims and long-haul truck driver. And most of it was all, I think everyone was strangulation that he did. And he was the one of the other ones. Well, this was my old logo. This is his famous, the melting Mickey. Was my logo for a while. This is melting Mickey. But he does like colored pencil artwork. And what the amazing thing with him, what I learned the most about him, when you're a narcissistic psychopath, and you don't have 3 things about somebody who have psychopathy. One, your portion of your amygdala is not working, a portion of your brain. No fear, no empathy, and what people don't realize, you don't have the ability to stop yourself when you want to do some harm. Like if someone bumps your shoulder in a market or a club, whatever you got, or it cuts you off, your first thought might be, I want to run you over. But your amygdala kicks in, I'm probably not. That kind of, but your first instinct might be that. Well, that button at the brakes, did it happen right there for like a normal brain? They don't have that. In fact, the impulsion gets greater. So they have the urge to strangle or, smack somebody. They don't have the ability to stop. Because Keith's been on my podcast numerous times and said in numerous interviews, I'm never going to kill again. If I get out of here, not for empathy reasons, but I want to come back here. Problem is, you can say that, and I 100% believe he believes he will never kill again. The problem is, you can't say that because your brain doesn't work that way. Because if someone pissed you off enough, you're going to do it. Yeah, people ask him all the time because they're all women who killed him. He said one of the most fascinating things that opened up a lot of people's minds about what psychopathy. He said, well, you must hate women because everybody you killed were women. His joke is always, I love women, I love them to death. That's his little joke that he says. But he says something very important. As far as psychopathy goes, he's like, the reason I haven't killed any men, I mean, he almost did a few times growing up, but he says men know when to stop. When you're pushing another, because you're going to get punched in the face or something's going to happen to you. Another man's not going to, it only takes so long until you're going to have a fight. Women don't think you're going to get strangled by another man or punched by another man. So they kept pushing his buttons. Well, when you got a psychopathic narcissist, don't have the stop button, so to speak, of the brain, that's how every single one lost their lives. They kept pushing, whether, hey, I want you to, hitchhiker, I want you to take me to this town. No problem. No, he'd given hundreds of women a ride that made it to their destination. Even some prostitutes you hooked up with here and there. Perfectly fine. He doesn't have urges to kill. He never sought out a person to kill them. It was only when they pushed his buttons. Hey, I told you I would take you to this town. Well, no, my boyfriend's over here. Can you take me over here? No, I'm going here. My truck route's here. But come on, take me over here. Strangled. So it doesn't take much. But you keep pressing his buttons. And he tells one about Angela Sabrice, one of the more graphic ones, where strangled her. He's like, well, how am I going to dispose of this body? And he said he watched a movie, I think it was Christmas Vacation, he said, where they forgot the dog was kind of tied up on the back of the car, back of the truck, and by the end of the trip, the poor dog was gone. He's like, oh yeah, let me try that. So he tied her up underneath his 18-wheeler. And just the way he knew traffic patterns came and go. I waited till every 3 minutes or so a new wave of cars go. That's what I do. I want to pull out, drove for miles and miles, so there was nothing left of her. He goes, if nothing else, it was a great weight loss program. That's his mindset. That's his dark sense of humor. And the reason he got caught finding the body was because he had some kind of surgery. I don't know if it was a knee replacement, a hip replacement, something like that in her body, where that little metal piece was found that identified who she was. That's how Angela's on the road where he dumped the body. Well, not body, the bits and pieces that were left of her. They found that piece of metal with that stamp, whatever number that was. That's how they found out who she was. But just a trip. He's definitely a trip.
Now, why did they call him the happy face killer?
He wrote back and forth a few. Now, people said he's done it a few times, but when he signed his name, like on a piece of paper, he wrote a little happy face on the letter, talking to journalists back and forth. Some said he put it on the bathroom stall wall, put a happy face on there. He says he didn't do it, but there's been a couple letters that he'd written back and forth to people, journalists and stuff about what he did. Hey, no, I'm. What was the names of the first victim? I forget. But anyway, 2 people, an older lady claimed responsibility for the murder. He's like, what? he lost. He wanted credit for that.
Like, I did that, right?
Exactly. Well, she did because her husband or boyfriend, I forget, was very abusive, and that was the only way she felt she can, get away from him is to get him in jail. So she said, he did it, and she helped him out, so they went to jail for it. But he was like, no, that one's mine. So in the course of talking back and forth about it, he would write little happy faces at the end, and we signed his name and put a happy face. He never even remembers doing it. It wasn't something purposely he did. Doesn't know why he did it. For some reason, that's what the media picked up on and gave him the name, the Happy Face Killer. He's not allowed to put that anywhere. Like he's not allowed to sign his name. He can't profit from artwork or anything like that. Like Todd Colehip out of South Carolina just got in real trouble, and I'm talking to him like every day. And prison already has it out for him. It's already a bad prison. But they found out he had a website selling some of his stuff. He had a book he just published, basically profited from his crimes. So now they took everything away, put him in even a worse part of the prison right now. But that's what happened. Well, that would happen to Keith because he's in Oregon State Prison at the honor section. They got a putt-putt golf course out back. His section is great. That he have a lot of privileges that they have there after all the years getting to that section. If he's found putting happy faces on anything, artwork or letters, he'll strip everything away.
Wow.
Everything away from him. I mean, there's some pieces floating around from like decades ago that have it. Or sometimes he might or might have not snuck a few things out with happy face things that I might or might not have laying around the house that I can't say publicly.
There's other killers that are out there that happy face is involved with their murders too, right?
Well, they just putting happy faces on some of the crimes. Nothing to do with him. Just completely different. They just chose to put that little mark, on what they're doing.
It's on a wall over there where a body was found or something.
Exactly.
I've seen that quite a bit.
Yeah, I know connection to him, but that's out there. I mean, his daughter, he was just a spotlight person, just wants a spotlight of everything. The new TV show with the happy face killer, nothing to do with reality. Absolutely nothing. His daughter Melissa.
Oh yeah, how they said the daughter, and that's not related to him at all.
Yeah, no, I've talked to Melissa a few times. His daughter, I know her. I'm friends with her ex-husband, and she'll just even stuff in the book. That's, Keith actually became, I won't say friends, but we'll say it friends, because she was posting a lot of stuff that wasn't true. Now, there's a hell of a lot of stuff that's true. Keith never denied anything. I did all of it. And when he wanted to claim stuff that he wasn't even convicted of. No, I did that one too. That was definitely me. He's just making stories up that he was hanging kittens and killing kittens and hanging them on strings and just stuff. That I never did that stuff. But he was upset because I can get me even more heat in prison by doing things like that. And I'm into everything. I never did that. But of course, her mother never saw it when she was younger. The brothers never saw it. The neighbors never saw it. So it's Dr. Phil and Oprah got in a reel writing this book and, all kind of lies in there. So I exposed a lot of them with timeline, like proving, no, you're this old. You said this happened. One, at that age, you weren't in this house. You weren't going to that school. So we exposed a lot of the lies. So he really appreciated that because then she started keeping her mouth shut about a lot of things. But the movie is all fictional. The TV show it's all fictional. The only thing I was upset about that, everybody knew the whole thing, which is all, just pure fiction. But I was upset that Dennis Quaid, the actor, one, what's the guy, like 5'7" or something like that? Keith's almost 7 foot tall. Keith's a monster guy, huge guy. And Dennis Quaid, the actor, is like this half a midget coming in. All the prison guards are taller than him, everything else. At least, get something right about the story. And he refused to talk to Keith about it. I even told him, I said, hey, if you needed anything, I even reached out today. Let me know if you want factual things about his childhood cases, but they didn't want anything to producers. They don't want anything like that. They had this narrative that Melissa was saying about this fictional story they want to go down. Then I told him I can even put you in contact with Keith. And Keith told me he'd love to talk to you. If you want real factual things or get mannerisms and stuff, he didn't want anything. He just wanted to go down his idea of what Keith might or might not be. And that's why it was kind of crap.
That's not the way to do something like that.
No, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Now, maybe it's a decent story if you didn't know anything factual about.
I didn't know. I watched it. I thought it was real. I was like, damn.
Yeah, it might be pretty good. Like I said, if you don't know anything about Keith or the case or his daughter or stuff, it's probably a cool little show. I watched some of it. I was like,
put it fiction. I ended up stopped watching it after probably like the 4th episode. I was like, it's getting a little boring.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be some truth in it, but there is nothing out there. But who knows?
Now, what do you think about like the mafia serial killers like Roy DeMeo or Tommy Patera?
Yeah, no, Tommy. Yeah, he's actually a great artist. I used to have something. I used to have on my wall. I gave it to somebody who was a real mafia fan. He's a great artist. I have up on my wall. I don't know if really call him a psychopath, but Johnny A-Light, Gambino crime family member, known for beating people with baseball bats. Let me see if I can reach it from here. Here's Johnny A-Light. A picture he sent me. Signing a baseball bat.
Yeah.
that he signed for me. That.
Yeah.
To Keith, hit it out of the park. Johnny A-Light.
Yeah, the changed man, right?
Yeah. I have I live far from Philly, so I got the
Joey Merlino.
New cheesesteak place. Little Joe Marlino hat there. Yeah, so he's not too far by. Oh, one of my friends of mine is kind of part of the crew, or the friend crew, not mob crew, but some of the ones he hangs out with, like Little Snuff, the podcast guy. I send him a lot of video stuff, do some video editing for a few people. They're tied in with all that. Yeah, but Tiny Patera is cool. I haven't talked to him probably a few months. I don't think I talked to him this year. Amazing artist, but I was more fascinated with him because of his martial art background. And we had connection because I grew up off and on, more for hobby, but my whole life in martial arts, one thing or another, not too serious, just kind of goofing around. And he's like real serious. Like he went to Japan and really, I think it was Guju Karado, however you pronounce that, Guju Karado, GYU, however you pronounce that. But he went there and trained with the man. Like he was legit.
Hey, welcome to the lighter side of true crime with Kai the Hatcher-wielding hitchhiker and Keith Rovere. Smash, smash, smash.